Good morning, everybody. We're sitting here in camp, waiting for the rest of the guys from the Bluegrass Bushcraft group to get here. We're in the spot we normally pick, mainly because it has a little open area for the solar panels on the top of the van. However, as you can tell from the video, we're not getting much solar activity. There's a little rain here today. So this morning I was sitting here playing, and what I was actually working on is making a taller alcohol stove to use in my Emberlit backpacking stove. Let's see if I can get some pieces out here. And I'll put this thing together in just a minute. Let you guys see how it works. We're going to take the maiden voyage and make some grits for breakfast. And a big shout out to my buddy Roland for the most excellent coffee mug. Thank you, buddy. Y'all come back in just a minute. Since I won't be able to assemble the stove one-handed, I didn't get my tripod out yet. Sorry, being lazy. Here are the pieces. You'll notice there's 4 sides, a bottom, and then a cross member for the top. And they just slide together utilizing these little hooks. And you'll notice the notches on this one are turned down. The notches on that one are turned up. And so they just kind of interlock and make the stove. And I'll slap it together real quick and let you see what I'm saying. All right, the stove is almost assembled. You see how these notches fit together. Like I said, one is turned up and one is turned down. You just slide the pieces together. And you put the first 3 pieces with slots in the bottom. Can you see this little slot in the bottom? You put those together first because you're going to then put the bottom in to the 3. And then the piece that has the fuel opening in it will slide in and lock it all together. So give me just a minute and we'll get that done. Alrighty, there's the completed stove. And again, I apologize, the lighting's not real good. It's kind of overcast, rainy day, but here's the opening for adding your fuel, your sticks in. This is designed to burn just sticks and twigs. If you look in the top, if I turn it that way, there's a pot rest to give it a little more strength. And it's really quite simple to go together, even before the first cup of coffee. The biggest challenge is being sure that you get the plates turned around the right way so the uppies are up and the downies are down and everything slicks together just beautifully. So with that done, I'm going to set it to the side. We're going to fuel up the alcohol stove I just made, and we're going to give it a shot. So what I've made here is the typical, what they call penny stove out of a couple of cans. And there's hundreds of videos on YouTube on how to make these. The basic principle of operation is you fill it with alcohol. You put a penny over the little hole you filled with so that most of the vapors come out around the top. The penny also serves as kind of a little bit of a pressure regulator. Again, I've used these stoves, much shorter version, a lot. But with the, get out of there, Penny. With the Emberlit stove, what I was trying to do here was to create a stove that would sit in here on the shelf at that height. There, get it lined up so you can see it. Sit in here on the shelf at that height, and it would put the flame in closer contact with the cooking utensil, pot, cup, whatever. So that's why the stove was made so tall. The only thing I'm concerned about is lighting it. It might be a bit of a struggle because you have to get the can warmed up where the liquid alcohol is to create the vapors up here. And with this much volume, it might be a struggle. Plus, it's a little cool today. So we'll find out. This is kind of an experiment, and we'll see how it goes. So here's a little trick. You know, trying to put alcohol in the top out of a square can with a really weird shaped spout. You pour it everywhere. So get you a little twig, let it be a director, and as you gently turn the can over and the stream starts to come out, the twig will start to direct the alcohol down into the can rather than all over the top of this can and all over the table. That's just a little tip, something you can do. All right, camera lady that came out to give me a hand doing this because I didn't think I could do it two-handed. So there you go, folks. All right, we're going to set it with the alcohol in the stove down in the Emberlit. And as you can see, I think you can see, boy, the glares. There it is. There's the penny. And all it's going to do is kind of seal the hole, because we're going to fill that cavity with alcohol. And I'll probably let a little run over the sides, just to have a little more flame in there and warm the stove up so it'll start gassing. Remember, this thing has to get warm enough to start evaporating the alcohol, making the fumes that come out from the burner. All right. One thing about using denatured alcohol like I'm using here is denatured alcohol. You can pick it up at the paint section of Walmart, different stores. Because in the daylight, you can't see that flame. So I always suggest keeping a twig handy so that if you're getting ready to refuel or something like that, you can stick a twig in there and you'll see the twig light up. You want to be careful with a liquid fuel like this. And in handling it, remember, denatured alcohol cannot be made non-poisonous. So if you contaminate any kind of cooking utensil or you get it on your hands, you're going to want to clean that very well before you go on. Give me just a minute. We'll let this burn down and get to where it's vaporizing and put the pot on. Okay, you can see some of the flames dancing around in there, I hope. There you go. The big problem that I see that may be with this stove design is it's so tall, it's going to be hard to keep the alcohol in the bottom heated enough. So I was hoping that if I got it burning and threw the pot of water on top, enough heat would be retained by the Emberlit stove for it to continue to off-gas and vapor the alcohol. We'll see. Like I said, it's kind of an experiment. So truth in advertising being what it is, I have to tell you this is the third time I've lit it, trying to retain enough heat in the alcohol stove to cause the alcohol to vaporize. Again, it's kind of a wet, cool morning here, and the height of the can that I made the stove out of, like I said, I deliberately made it tall enough to bring it up to this level in the Emberlit stove, but that height may be working against me, and that it won't stay hot enough to vaporize the alcohol. But after the third attempt, we'll see. If it don't work now, I guess we'll burn sticks and twigs or something to make grits. So back to my truth in advertising. Hey, I'm honest with these videos. This did not work out on a slightly cool, windy morning. The problem being, make sure that's not real hot. I'll lay that down right there. The problem being the height of the can for the stove allows for too much heat loss. If I can get it out of there. Ow. It allows for too much heat loss because the alcohol is only up to about here in the can. And so what has to happen is this has to be producing enough vapors to pressurize the top and, of course, keep the gas coming out the jets. Now, it's real close. Get my finger out of the picture. It's real close. You can apply a little bit of heat and it's been a little long. It will relight. But we had a big gust of wind, and that gust of wind took away, not only did it blow the flames out, but it took away enough heat from the can that, I shouldn't, with it burning like we have been, I shouldn't be able to pick this up at all. So we're just losing a lot of heat. And, well, it was an experiment, guys. It didn't work. Back to the drawing board. As always, get out, be safe, and go find a coffee pot. Go adventure.